This week on Stakelbeck on Terror, we're on the ground in southern Israel, along the Gaza border. The dust is still settling from Israel's latest operation against Hamas terrorists, and we examine what's next with Israel's top military spokesperson, Lieutenant Colonel Avital Leibovich, plus Ambassador Yoram Ettinger.
Hamas is a subsidiary, a branch of the Muslim Brotherhood in Gaza.
We'll also take an up-close look at Israel's groundbreaking Iron Dome missile defense system. And we pay a visit to the city of Sderot for a personal look at the disastrous effects of Hamas's rocket barrage. All that and much more from southern Israel. Let's go to work. Well, we're here in beautiful southern Israel. We are in the city of Sderot. You may have heard of it. Sderot has really been ground zero over the past 12 years or so in terms of being a target for the onslaught of Hamas rockets out of Gaza. I'm standing just a few miles from the Gaza border, and Sderot has taken over 10,000 rockets from Gaza over the past 12 years alone. Over 10,000 rockets. Now, before 2008, it was about 8,000 rockets. Then Israel carried out Operation Cast Lead, late 2008, early 2009, and they really put a dent in that Hamas rocket arsenal. But as the recent Operation Pillar of Defense showed, they didn't stop it altogether. So over the past 4 years, Sderot has been the victim of some 2,000 plus rocket attacks. And if you can believe it, people here in Sderot call the last 4 years, where they've had, 2,500 rocket attacks, the quiet years. And by the way, this is a beautiful place. Palm trees everywhere, sunny, dry. This is Israel, southern Israel, the Negev. Good place to live, right? Well, over the past 12 years with the rocket onslaught, you want to raise a family here in Sderot? Really? Post-traumatic stress syndrome? For children 3 years old, 4 years old, kindergarten, kids in their early teens. Imagine if you're 12 years old. The rockets really started around 2000, 2001. Imagine if you're 12 years old. You've lived your whole life with sirens. Some days here in Sderot, there have been 70 rockets striking the city from nearby Gaza. Sirens constantly. You can't fall asleep. You hear them in your dreams or in your nightmares. Little children, this is all they know. Now I'm standing here, right next to a bomb shelter. You drive through Sderot, these are everywhere. These bomb shelters are throughout this city. And you have 15, maybe 17 seconds, maybe, when the sirens go off, to find cover and get to a shelter. And I've talked to others who live here and said, look, Eric, it's not 15 to 17 seconds. It's really about 7 seconds for you to find shelter in one of these shelters when you hear the sirens. The rockets come whistling in. Remember, Gaza, which Hamas rules, and Palestinian Islamic Jihad is there. Al-Qaeda-linked groups are there. Thousands of rockets supplied by Iran. Remember, it's just a few miles from this city. We're very close right now to Gaza City. So those rockets come whistling in. You have about 7 seconds to find a shelter. Scoop up your kids. Put them under your arms and carry them to a shelter. If you're in a kindergarten, you're a teacher, get your class together. Get them to a shelter. You know, the kindergartens here now and the schools that are being built here now in Sderot, the Israeli government is making them schools/shelters. They're not just schools. They're reinforced, almost bunkers where kids have to learn. People sleep in shelters every night. Their homes double as bomb shelters. As a matter of fact, as you can see here, bus stops here in Sderot, and they're everywhere. Bus stops double as bomb shelters. So you're waiting for the bus, you hear a siren, you run inside the bus stop, it doubles as a bomb shelter. Now, ladies and gentlemen, can you imagine living like this? You know, I talked to an Israeli military guy today. I spent some time with him. I mean, we were near the fence with Gaza. We were not far. We were right there along the Gaza border. And he said, look, you know, this is a precarious situation. And it's every day. You not only have the rockets and missiles coming, you have to remember this, not only is it rockets, missiles, it's people, terrorists from Gaza, trying to infiltrate the fence and come into Gaza, or come into Israel rather, southern Israel here, in places like Sderot, and cause mayhem. So imagine living like this. But this Israeli military guy told me, look, no other place in the world has to live like this. Think about it. Who else in the world has to live like this with their children, where every day sirens are going off and you never know where the next rocket is coming from? And you have to run in these shelters, and you go to sleep every night not knowing if you'll wake up the next day, not knowing if you'll be roused from your sleep at 4 in the morning, and have to get your kids, even get your dogs and cats, and run to a bomb shelter. That's daily life here in Sderot. But not only Sderot. Sderot, as I said, has been the epicenter. It's been ground zero. But Ashkelon, Ashdod, Beersheba, these are all Israeli cities. Not far from Gaza. Sderot is among the closest. There's also some kibbutz along the Gaza border, some Israeli communities there. But Sderot has been most affected. Over 10,000 rockets in 12 years. But it's expanding now beyond this beautiful city of Sderot. It's expanding to Ashkelon, to Ashdod, to Beersheba, to the doorstep of Tel Aviv. Hamas, out of Gaza, a few miles from where we're standing right now, stone's throw, is now using these long-range Iranian missiles and rockets to reach every inch of Israel. That's their goal, Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, in their range, thanks to Iran. So, this is the situation in southern Israel, in a place like Sderot. And I encourage you to support the people of Sderot. Support the people here. They need help. They need, the kids need counseling. People need psychiatric help. They've been living in a state of constant war for 12 years, with rockets whistling over their head, living in bomb shelters for 12 years. The kids here suffer from post-traumatic stress syndrome. The adults suffer from it too. Imagine being a mother. I have 2 little ones. I have a daughter in kindergarten. I have a 2-year-old. And it just tugs at your heart. So help the people of Sderot. Stand with the people of southern Israel. I encourage you. If you're watching now, any foundation you can find, I don't know them off the top of my head, but if you can find any foundation that supports Sderot, donate to them. It's worthwhile, and I'm encouraged because there's probably about 25,000 people live here right now in Sderot. Now, it was getting so bad, there were 30,000 people. It was getting so bad that 6,000 people left. They left. They said, I can't live like this anymore. Well, according to some of our friends here in Sderot who briefed us today, people are returning. People are returning to Sderot. The ironic thing is, one of the reasons they're returning is because the places they went to, like Ashdod, Ashkelon, Beersheba, are now also being targeted with rockets. So no matter where you go in southern Israel, you're going to get shot at out of Gaza. Some are returning to Sderot. But now that things have quieted down a bit in the past 3-4 years, the so-called quiet years, only 2,000 rockets, quiet years. Now that things have quieted down a bit, it seems that the population is stabilizing. People are staying now. There's been some encouraging signs, people looking for apartments, looking for homes. Look, keep Sderot in your prayers, please. Keep southern Israel in your prayers. They really need them. Keep the people, keep the children here, the leadership here, keep them in your prayers. Pray that there's a new day in Sderot. Look, Cast Lead, Operation Cast Lead, late 2008, early 2009, was a start. It was a start. Hamas was damaged. That rocket arsenal weakened, damaged. Operation Pillar of Defense, also very effective. Took out some of the Hamas terror infrastructure, killed some jihad, Hamas military commanders, also effective. Let's hope we get to a point, and ladies and gentlemen, let's pray that we get to a point where Sderot, where all of these beautiful, and I'm telling you, it is beautiful, beautiful here, these beautiful communities in southern Israel, let's get to a point where they can rest their heads every night on their pillows and sleep soundly all through the night with no fear of sirens. Let's get to a point where we can tear these bomb shelters down and not need them anymore. Not even need these bomb shelters. Let's get to the point where children can go to kindergarten here in Sderot and actually take a nap during the day. Let's pray for that. Let's pray for the people of Israel, pray for southern Israel, pray for Sderot. But I had to show you and I had to tell you, here at Stakelbeck on Terror, we get on the ground. We get up close. We're giving it to you not from some air-conditioned think tank in Washington, D.C. We like to get on the ground, and I had to get here on the Gaza border to fill you in on what's going on. Coming up, we take an up-close look at Iron Dome, plus Israeli military spokesperson Avital Leibovich. Stay tuned. Do you want to know the truth about the jihadist in your backyard? Then be sure to pick up my book, The Terrorist Next Door: How the Government is Deceiving You About the Islamist Threat. Available wherever books are sold from coast to coast. Remember to check out the Stakelbeck on Terror blog at cbnnews.com 24/7 for the latest on these and other stories. You can send all your questions and comments about the show to stackonterror@gmail.com.
John Mapes is 42, mortgage, married, 2 great kids. He wants to protect his family with a $500,000 term life insurance policy. What do you think it'll cost him? $100 a month? 60? 40? Actually, none of the above. John can get a $500,000 policy from a highly rated insurer for under $25 a month. His secret? SelectQuote. SelectQuote is impartial. They'll search the pick of insurers like these to give you a choice of your best prices. SelectQuote has great savings on term life for women, too. John's wife, Carrie, can get a $500,000 policy for under $16 a month. SelectQuote has helped make term life insurance affordable for hundreds of thousands of people since 1985. How about you? Just call this number or visit SelectQuote.com.
If you have diabetes and you're on Medicare, call now for a new pain-free meter. These new meters are more accurate, they're easier to use, and the best news is you don't have to prick your fingers anymore. Call now and Arriva Medical will send you one of these new meters for free. And if you have Medicare, your testing supplies may also be covered. Arriva makes it simple. They bill Medicare directly. There are no upfront costs. And they deliver your supplies right to your door for free. With these new meters, there's no coding, you don't have to prick your fingers, and some of these meters even talk.
Your blood glucose reading is 122.
And if you call 1-800-284-9762, we will send you a free Betty Crocker Diabetes Cookbook filled with delicious recipes.
Call Arriva today. You'd be glad you did.
Well, we're in southern Israel near Ashkelon, and here it is. Iron Dome, one of only 5 placed strategically throughout Israel to protect against Hamas rockets coming out of the Gaza Strip. Now, during the recent Operation Pillar of Defense, some 1,200 Hamas rockets were fired against Israeli cities from Gaza, even targeting Tel Aviv, even getting close to Jerusalem. But Iron Dome shot down some 85% of those Hamas rockets that were targeting civilian areas, and a lot of people think it's really going to revolutionize warfare for the Israelis.
Well, one of the basic goals of the operation was to cripple the capabilities of the different terror organizations, among them Hamas, Islamic Jihad, and others. And we believed we gave them a harsh blow, especially to the arsenal of the long-range rockets. Some of the Fajr 5s, for example, that the same Iranian-made rocket that can reach 75 kilometers. So this we hit significantly during the operation. And overall, regarding the deterrence issue, because this is another goal that we had to achieve here. This is something we will see in the next coming weeks or months. It's something that you cannot measure right now. We're only 2 weeks after the operation, so time will tell whether we have achieved that goal. Our past experience tells us that when we go to these kind of operations, there is some time of quiet, relatively quiet, and minimizing of the rocket like we've seen in 2010 and 11. Gaza has become a hub and sort of a welcome center to many groups of terror. It can be Salafis with jihadic motives. It can be Islamic Jihad, which is the second biggest organization, terror organization inside Gaza, that has been going on and on about challenging Hamas. And over Gaza, as an entity, there is Iran, which is hovering. And Iran has its own ideologies and its own pulling the strings. And, during the operation itself, we in the intelligence even paid attention to ongoing efforts to continue and try to smuggle in different kinds of rockets to Hamas. And in his speech, Nasrallah, the head of Hezbollah, following the operation, said and blamed and accused the various Arab countries of not arming Hezbollah or rearming them, rather with more rockets. Fajr 5 is a rocket that was manufactured in Iran. You can only find it in Iran. It was manufactured for Hamas and for Islamic Jihad. So the funding is Iranian, the directive is Iranian, and some of the ammunition is Iranian. We're talking about strategic ammunition because a rocket that can reach 75 kilometers well into Israel covers half of the Israeli population, 3.5 million people. This exactly shows who is Israeli society. The fact that the government invests so much money in rescuing lives, in saving lives, because the Iron Dome system is a system about saving lives. I'll give you an amazing figure. Only 7% of the rockets that were fired from Gaza during the operation fell or landed inside urban areas. This is due to more than 430 interceptions by the Iron Dome system. And we're looking at a very big amount of rockets in a very short amount of time. So definitely this is a system that has very high success rates, has become only operational a year and a half ago, and really saves lives.
Up next, Ambassador Yoram Ettinger on Israel's security landscape in the aftermath of the latest Gaza operation. Don't move. You can send all your questions and comments about the show to stackonterror@gmail.com.
Dear Bowflex, I dropped 8 dress sizes, 36 pounds, and all I had to do was walk.
This is the Bowflex Tread Climber Machine, the easiest way to walk and burn up to 3.5 times the calories. By combining the motion of a treadmill, a stepper, and an elliptical, you get the calorie-burning benefits of all 3 workouts at once.
I lost 30 pounds in 4 months. If I can do it, anyone can do it.
Call now for your free DVD and information kit. You'll see how the Tread Climber burns up to 3.5 times the calories of a treadmill. Right now, you can own a Tread Climber machine today and get special financing for 18 months.
Within the first couple of weeks, I started to lose inches. I lost 50 pounds in 3 months using the Tread Climber.
I lost 150 pounds in such a short period of time. All my friends are like, how did you do it?
To look better and feel younger, call or go online to buytc.com for your free DVD and information kit today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bowflex.
Sincerely, J.D. Weber.
You know, the Boone family has a lot to be thankful for. Oh, sure, at times our core values have been shaken and tested, but they've never failed us. The economic future has never been more uncertain than it is right now. Yet, as I plan ahead for my grandchildren and great-grandchildren, I'm certain of one thing. My decision to leave them a golden legacy is right on the money. I have peace of mind knowing my family is going to be able to face an uncertain future with certainty and real hope, with real money. Gold. Why don't you call Swiss America for an important new CD and special report discussing the future of money with economist and author Craig R. Smith. It's free with this special TV offer. Rediscover gold. Ensure your family's future. Call Swiss America, the gold standard. And you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
Well, Ambassador Yoram Ettinger, welcome back to the Stakelbeck
Thank
on
you.
Terror show. It's always great to have you. You've written about this a lot on your blog, the Ettinger Report. This is what's going on with Israel and Hamas. On a smaller scale, that clash of civilizations. Talk more about that, how this Israel-Hamas conflict is indicative of a much larger clash going on between the forces of democracy, more westernized forces, and the forces of Islamism?
Well, we have here a clash between Western societies, Israel, which enshrine life and liberties, against Hamas, namely Islamic terrorism, which consecrates martyrdom, consecrates suicidal bombing and terrorism as a whole. We have a clash between Western democracies on one hand and Islamic terrorism, Hamas in this case, which are engaged in ongoing terrorism deliberately, systematically against innocent civilians while employing or while using human shield.
Using their own people as human shields.
Right. They do target Israeli civilians and they do abuse the liberties of their own civilians in order to shield themselves against Israeli fire, knowing that Israel, just like all Western democracies, shy away from targeting civilians.
Yeah.
We also have here a battle between Israel or Western democracies, which consider peace as an utmost elevated goal in our own life, in our own politics. On the other hand, Hamas considers peace as a phase, as a transition in order to achieve their own utmost goal, which is the subjugation, the submission of their own enemies.
So, Ambassador, what you're saying is that Hamas is not going to stop. Their whole rationale for existence is to wipe the Jewish state off the map. They might strike maybe a temporary ceasefire with Israel, but it's only temporary. Their ultimate goal, and they're very patient, they will continue to work towards it, is the destruction of Israel.
Well, when it comes to Hamas and concluding an agreement with the Jewish state, one needs to go back and look at Hamas agreements with other Arabs, with other Muslims. We have to go back to the Middle East and see the fate of intra-Muslim, intra-Arab agreements, which are always provisional. And one has to conclude logically, if they consider agreements among their own or with their own Muslim brethren to be provisional, how do they regard the agreement signed with the so-called infidel Jew or infidel Christian or infidel Buddhist? But more than that, if we go back to 1948, Israel's establishment, and prior to that, we can see the sequence of Arab assaults on Israel, which leads one to conclude logically that the battle of Hamas against Israel, the battle of the PLO against Israel, the battle of Arabs as a whole against Israel, is not focused on the size of Israel, but is focused on the existence or the desire to eliminate Israel. And I think until we reach that conclusion, we'll continue making errors by signing agreements which are perceived by our enemies as a sign of indecisiveness or weakness, which fuels further and further radicalization and terrorism.
I found it very interesting that the Egyptian President Mohamed Morsi helped to broker this ceasefire. Now, Hamas is the Palestinian branch, self-identified, of the Muslim Brotherhood. So, Ambassador, can we expect Mohamed Morsi to be an honest broker in any dealings between Israel and Hamas? Is that realistic? Because the American mainstream media and the American administration seems to think that Morsi did a great job and he's a great peacemaker.
Well, I would say if you go back to the American culture, if there would be a judge assigned to such a case, the judge in the shape of form of Morsi would disqualify him or herself due to conflict of interest, because Morsi is the head of the parent company, so to speak, of Hamas. Hamas is a subsidiary, a branch of the Muslim Brotherhood in Gaza. Hamas is the Palestinian branch of the Muslim Brotherhood.
Well, Ambassador, thank you so much. Always a pleasure to have you on the show. We'll do
Thank
it again
you.
soon, hopefully from Jerusalem once again. Ambassador, thank you. Appreciate it. Coming up, a conversation with an Israeli soldier from the front lines of Gaza. Stay tuned.
When it's warm, you'd love to open every door and let fresh air into your home. The trouble is, you'd end up letting lots of bugs into your home as well. Now there's Magic Mesh, the new type of screen door that opens easily and then magically closes itself behind you. The secret isn't really magic, it's magnets. 18 magnets to be exact. When you separate them, they automatically snap back together. That makes it great for pets too, because instead of scratching and whining, they can come and go as they please. So let the fresh air in and keep those annoying bugs out with Magic Mesh, a $40 value, yours for just $19.95. But wait, call right now and we'll double the offer. Just pay separate processing and handling. You get 2 Magic Mesh curtains for just $19.95. Don't delay. Call and order yours today.
To order Magic Mesh for $19.95 plus processing and handling, call 1-800-270-5583 or log on to buymagicmesh.com.
The sun used to make our outdoor deck and patio space so hot and uncomfortable we couldn't use it.
But then we discovered the Sunsetter retractable awning. Our Sunsetter retractable awning opens and closes in just 60 seconds. It keeps our patio about 20 degrees cooler.
It provides instant shade and instant protection from the sun's harmful rays.
And our Sunsetter costs under $700.
But now you can get your Sunsetter for as little as $499 when you call now to get this special $200 discount certificate and free awning idea kit.
We love our Sunsetter retractable awning, and you're going to love yours too.
Sunsetter awnings are assembled in America and guaranteed to last for years. So call now to get this free awning idea kit with DVD, plus your $200 Sunsetter discount certificate.
But this is a limited time offer.
Call now.
Call now for your free awning idea kit with DVD and $200 discount certificate. There's no obligation.
1-800-913-7523.
Welcome back. Well, you never know who you're going to meet in Israel. When we were with the Israeli military along the Gaza border, we came across an Israeli soldier from America. Here's what he told us about being on the front lines against Hamas.
I don't think anyone anywhere in the world can really grasp what it's like here. I couldn't sleep in the rooms that they give us in our barracks because every 5 minutes I have to sprint to the bomb shelter. It got to the point where eventually I just took a mattress to the bomb shelter and slept in it. Didn't get our meals. You couldn't go to the bathroom because you'd be afraid that while you were there you'd have to run back. We're right here where we are, and there's all these people that live very close. It's not rockets that hit you, it's mortars. And that's not, they give you the red alert, and that's, everywhere else was a rocket, you got 15 seconds, 10 seconds at least to run here. Mortar fire, it's 3-5 seconds from when they fire to when it's gonna hit. So there's really nothing you can do. It's just straight terror.
Well, that's it for this edition of the Stakelbeck on Terror Show. We have much more coming up in the next few weeks from Israel, so be sure to keep it right here. And until next time, take care and God bless.